Welcome back. We've got some Ebola news. Recently, researchers from MIT have been doing models and stuff just to study the spread of what you see going on in Africa right now, which is kind of going on terrestrially through the ground, through infected patients. We're flying infected patients into the United States. We're flying them into the UK. And what their model is showing, it only takes one infected individual making it through an airport checkpoint. Health officials around the world are scrambling to contain the Ebola virus. This is by Mark Slavo from the SHTFplan.com. Health officials around the world are scrambling to contain the Ebola virus, with many, including the CDC and World Health Organization, preparing for the eventual escape out of West Africa. It's already happening, people. They're not preparing. Mathematical models performed by numerous researchers suggest that anywhere from 20,000 to 100,000 people globally could contract the virus by December of this year. Researcher Yanir Baryam, whose model predicted the rise of the Arab Spring just weeks before it actually happened, had been modeling virus outbreaks since 2006. In a report published in conjunction with MIT and the New England Complex System Institute, Baryam and his colleagues developed a host pathogen model to predict the spread of the emergent disease, including Ebola, in evolving ecosystems. And we're showing you that spread right now, how it starts off in Africa, then slowly spreads to the Caribbean, up into Europe, then into the United States. You can see it going into Australia, South America, and finally enveloping all of Russia. And it's not going to take long for that to happen. And it will happen, especially as they keep developing these viruses in labs. And as these viruses get accidentally released or stolen or missing, they don't have a lid on this stuff. There is no control mechanism. They're bringing patients in and not even keeping them in level 4 facilities. They're in level 2 facilities. This is not the way it should be done. Don't believe the hype when they tell you there's a lid on it and it's safe. It's a real scary thing. Let's move on to some gun-grabbing news. Vice principal files a claim against city and police over gun arrest. Tevis Junior High School administrator, who was arrested and subsequently released last month after bringing a gun to school, has filed a claim against the city of Bakersfield and its police department, according to his attorney, Daniel Rodriguez. Kent Williams, 51, vice principal at the school since 2010, said he was falsely arrested by BPD officers for bringing a handgun to school because he had a valid concealed weapons permit and showed it to them before the arrest was ever made. And we go now to a report from Jakari Jackson, which has more to this story.
For Tevis Junior High Vice Principal Kent Williams, bringing a concealed handgun to work was a simple choice. Someone had called the district to report the gun. The 51-year-old was arrested for potentially violating the California Gun-Free School Zone Act. But just hours later, the administrator was released after BPD said he didn't break any laws because of his permit.
That's what we're referring to when we talk about the suppression of Second Amendment rights. A licensed concealed carrier arrested for lawful carry. But the naysayers will bring up the Idaho professor that shot himself in the foot. And I will admit it wasn't the finest moment in the history of campus carry, but it's also not all-inclusive of the history of campus carry. Consider the story of Harold ISD and their superintendent, David Thweet.
Every one of the plans in the United States in schools, the emergency plans, are to lock the doors and hide the kids. Well, that was disturbing to us because we're 30 minutes from law enforcement. We had no way to protect ourselves, and there wasn't anybody around to take care of us. We were our first responders.
Right.
I came up with a plan, and the plan, you know, has been on the news a lot. It's pretty self-explanatory. They have to have a CHL. We approve them. The board approves them individually. We undergo some extra training, and then we use frangible ammunition, which, you know, breaks apart when it hits hard objects, right, to avoid ricochet. So, but the advantage of our plan is that we have multiple people within the school, within the building, that can respond. We don't just have one. You know, every plan out there is a security guard. Well, what happens when he goes to the dentist? What happens when he has the flu? Right. What happens when he goes to lunch, for crying out loud?
That school has operated with a pro-gun stance for years without incident. So if your solution to campus violence is to sit back and wait for the police to come and save you, consider that the officers responding may not be any better trained with firearms than anyone else. You can find more reports at Infowars.com.
50 Cent, Too Short, all of them talk about Glock 40. Okay, I'm the only one in this room professional enough that I know of to carry this Glock 40. I'm the only one.
So there you see that some school systems, mainly ones in Texas, are actually encouraging teachers to carry guns, mainly because they are going to be their first responders in these situations. And that's what I like to see. I like to see people taking responsibility for their own actions and not just depending on others to help them.
The facts are in. The studies are legion. Sodium fluoride and other toxic members of the fluoride family are devastating the health and cognitive ability of the American people. So why are the social engineers adding it to the water? Simple. Dumb down the host population that the parasitic technocracy is feeding on. We may not have been able to get fluoride out of the water supply yet, but we can help to get it out of our bodies. I am extremely excited to announce the exclusive InfoWars Life Fluoride Shield formulation, fusing 6 of the best documented ingredients from around the world to help the body remove not just toxic fluoride residues from the body, but a whole host of toxic substances. Let's take a stand against the globalists by blocking their poisons with Fluoride Shield. I use Fluoride Shield every day. Secure your Fluoride Shield and other pioneering formulations at InfoWarsLife.com today. Let's start cleansing our bodies now and support the InfoWar at the same time. That's InfoWarsLife.com.